So you ain't got no money and you're looking to buy some raw land with no money down. So in this episode, I'm gonna be talking about how to buy raw land with no money down. What if a seller would allow you to just make payments? What if you never even had to take ownership of the land and you were able to just phone a friend and assign your contract? In this episode, I'm gonna talk about several strategies that can show you how to buy land with no money down. All right, so when I just was getting started, I didn't have a lot of money to pay down payments. I didn't really have much money at all. So one of the first deals I did, it was pretty much a no money down deal. I ended up having to get a credit card for the amount of $30,000. So I actually talked the seller into seller financing the land. We call that a seller carryback. He was going to seller finance me $45,000. So roughly I was buying the land for $75,000. He was going to finance $45,000 of that, but he wanted a $30,000 down payment, right? Well, I didn't have any money to make a down payment. I didn't have $30,000 sitting in my pocket, but I was able to negotiate him to that $45,000, the $45,000 that he was going to do a seller financing, seller carryback on. He was going to do that for me for 0% interest, which we call principal only payments. So I paid every single month $400 a month, and each month my balance would go down $400. But I had a dilemma. I had to figure out how I was going to come up with that $30,000 down payment that I didn't have. So I called my credit card company, which was USAA at the time. I was currently in the military, and USAA gave me a $30,000 unsecured private loan, personal loan at 14% interest. And that payment was about $500 and something a month. So now I have $500 over here, $400 over here, but here's the cool part about it. The $400 was chiseling away every single month, and in the $500 payment due to USAA at 14%, that was at a 5-year payoff. It was a 5-year amortization, so AKA a 60-month loan. So every single month, that payment would pay down too, and eventually I paid them both off. I had 9 years for the $400 a month, and I had 5 years for the $500 a month. How did I earn income to do that? I ultimately got into that property with no money out of my pocket, AKA a no money down deal. Well, there was a barn on that property. I ended up putting a little studio apartment in that barn for very cheaply, and I rented it out for $500 a month. So that's covering now this $400 a month payment over here, and I have $100 left over that I was using it to pay USAA. I also rented out the 14 acres of pasture land to a guy that had cattle, and that was paying me every single month as well for cattle land. And then there was also a mobile home on this property that was not currently being used at the time that I was able to rent that out as well for $500 a month. So if you do the math, I'm getting $500 for the efficiency apartment, $500 for the mobile home that really needed a lot of fixing up. It really wasn't even livable when I bought the property. And then I was getting $100 a month for the cattle lease. So if you do the math, that's $1,100 a month. And I was paying a little over $900 a month for all the financing that I had to get for my no money down deal. Well, ultimately, I ended up selling that land for $159,000 a few years later. I really never paid off the seller carryback until I sold the land. All right, next I want to talk about phoning a friend or assigning your contract. Let's go back to that first deal I just talked to you about where I bought it for $75,000 and it was worth about $100,000 when I bought it for $75,000. You asked, like, Brent, how did you get such a great deal? You got the seller to hold the financing and he gave you a discount? Well, let me tell you, the seller was quite motivated to sell. He did not want to deal with a real estate agent, and he was actually referred to me by my father. This guy was ready to sell, and he wanted to do it on his terms, but he was allowing me to get the property at a discount. And his main term was he wanted a monthly payment because he did not want to mess up his Medicaid, and he wanted $30,000 to put in his pocket to buy a camper that he could travel the world before he was getting up there in years. He has now passed away. He's no longer with us, but he wanted to travel the United States before he passed away in his own camper. So I made sure I accomplished his goals, and ultimately at the same time, I accomplished my goal was to buy a piece of land with no money down. Well, I could have gotten that property under contract for those specific terms, and I could have signed that contract to someone for well over $100,000. Well, I had it under contract for $75,000. I could have sold that contract for $100,000. So the difference between $75,000 and $100,000 is a $25,000 difference. Ultimately, I could have called my buddy the guy that had the cows on the land, and he would have bought it for me for $100,000. And I would have made a $25,000 payday with just a couple hours of work. That's what I call assignment of contract. That's what I call wholesaling land. And that's how you buy land with no money down. Next, I want to talk to you about friends and family members. I also probably could have found a friend or a family member that would have wanted to do that deal with me. I could have shown them the numbers. I could have shown them my plan for renting out the apartment in the big barn, as well as the junky mobile home out back, as well as leasing the land to cattle. We also had another income stream that we could have pulled in, and that is paid hunts. There's something called an Osceola turkey that walks through there. We could have literally sold paid hunts each year and put up a feeder. There's also a pond out there. They're actually using it to fresh turtle meat. That was another income strategy, because there's multiple ways we could have earned income on that land, and I could have presented that to a partner, and they could have brought up all the funds, the $30,000 that I needed down, and I could have went into that deal with a partner. Another option is I could have went to my local bank and shown them my plan for the property and ultimately possibly gotten a loan on it. Now, a lot of banks do not like to lend on vacant raw land unless you're at a higher amount. There's another bank called the Farm Credit that they'll also help you with that. And finally, I also have my own land business where I buy and sell land every single day. I have a website that has all of our land deals on it, and I actually offer financing on these land deals. So you can head on over to vacantlandofthefree.com. It's on the screen. And if you tell my team member that you saw this video, I will give you literally one of our parcels of land with zero monies out of your pocket, and will allow you to do seller financing. You just need to mention the code Brent and tell them I told you about this deal, and you will qualify for it. This is how you can get land with no money down out of your pocket. You gotta mention the code Brent and tell them you saw me on YouTube talking about it, but you also have to smash that red subscribe button. So you might be one of those people thinking, oh my gosh, I see a business opportunity in this. I would love to make money buying and selling land. Ultimately, this is what allowed me to get out of the military. I talked about that that one land deal. I've done over 400 of these very similar, and I've made a lot more money by allowing people to buy land from us, and I hold the payments. I currently have over 100 notes every single month paying me on land deals that I've sold. If you're interested in something like that, or building a business just like that will serve you, your family, and eventually others, that will give you time freedom and financial freedom and allow you to do the things that you enjoy every single day, I want you to head on over to wholesalinginc.com/land and schedule a strategy session with me and my team. We'll see what your real estate investing goals are, and if we feel like we're a great fit, I'd be honored to coach you.